Good morning. I'm just giving myself just over 10 minutes to make some inroads into a little painting of this dying sunflower. I kind of like the turn of the side, the image of it from the side here. So I think I'll start with the leaf that's extending out towards me. And it seems to me that that's got a kind of a yellow-green, maybe. I'll just get my scrap of paper and show you what I'm doing. I've got my palette there. I think it's something like that shade that I'm looking for. So it's a mix of hooker's green and lemon and cadmium yellow, actually. Just to make a start on this leaf that's extending to the left, and this is probably the closest part of the sunflower to me. Quite dark down there too. As it bends away from the light, it's really quite dark. So given that I don't plan today to spend ages on it, I want to kind of establish things as soon as I see them. And then there's a little triangle of dark there too. And one maybe here. It's a different kind of a dark underneath there, and then you get to the next curve. And I'm looking at its location best I can in relation to what's happening over here, which also could be a touch darker there actually. And then I'll just carry on by painting the dark of the leaf that comes in behind this brighter one. There's a general shadow, mostly. It's mostly in shadow there. And there's a little fading petal in between, but then the shadow continues below that. It could be, I put some burnt sienna into the dark, into the green to make it darker. And now also some ultramarine blue. That's how I started to make the darks there. Can maybe even give them a bit more of the ultramarine blue dark. You know, as it dries, it kind of dissipates a bit, so. Just going to capture that ridge again. Pulling and lifting. Okay. Okay, over here. So, yeah, that dark bit. And then there's a second leaf that's extending out the way towards me. And that one sits, it's slightly slanting and sits about that distance away from this dark that's here. And it curves back in on itself, coming to the right of this shadow. It's handy to have a couple of brushes of the same size so that I can stay fairly free and loose without having to change the size of the mark I'm making. The reason I'm changing to this brush, and actually it is a little bit smaller than the one I was using, the reason I'm changing to this brush is to make the colour of the tip of this leaf, which reads to me as being pretty much yellow. I mean, it's probably got green in it as we go down that. And the first port of call for me was yellow there. And I think maybe the location of it isn't completely true now. Let's see. I'll maybe get away with it. This strip needs to sit back. The strip needs to sit back here, really, to open up the shape of the inside of that little boat-shaped leaf. So the alarm will go off in about 7 minutes. And something tells me that a touch of phthalo blue here will give me an edge for the slightly bluer light that's coming in and capturing the edge of the leaf on this side. The natural light coming in from the window there. And then I'm going back to the slightly darker colour again. Well, I'm going to pick up the brush that has the darker green on it because I want it to be seriously darker. There. Something like that, I think. Maybe not quite as far down. Okay. And now it gets darker again. It's a dark green, but I'm going to begin it with brown and blue because I really want it to not be the same as the greens that I've used already. I want it to have a depth of tone that's clear. And it comes in here too. It's a very dark colour. And then there's another channel that begins to extend into my boat-shaped leaf. It's darker than any green I've used so far, but the fact that the boat-shaped leaf is still a little bit wet means that the colour I'm putting in is flooding into the boat, so it's not remaining as dark as I wanted to. So I'll just revisit it later. And then finding where the dark of the slightly more greenish dark meets that leaf as well. I mean, this feels an inspiring thing for me to be doing, although it might seem a bit tedious, it might seem a little bit almost too rigorous, but there are times for this too in painting where I feel like it's exciting to plant each, what you might see as a jigsaw piece, to fit it together. And it is important to still keep an image of the whole thing, but you'll feel when your energy is enthusiasm and curiosity, and you'll feel when it's that pedantic chasing after. And for me still, I feel curious here. I feel alive to what I'm observing. And there doesn't feel like there's a slavish character to the looking, you know. Okay. And again, I think it feels like it needs a bit more green there, more sap green, because this leaf curling out and down. I need to make this edge a little bit thinner just to explain for myself. Yeah, this leaf curling out and down felt a bit more sap greenish, more yellow green as it extends down the way as well. And I'm just observing where it would sit in relation to that shadow there. And that shadow. And then this leaf that's here, which also has a bit of a sap green edge to it. And very significantly sap green, a very light sap green tip. And then this comes down, curling down. I've been reading, I've revisited really Rick Rubin's book, and also Joe sent me, my friend Joe, who's beautiful artist herself, has sent me a link to a Rick Rubin interview, which caused me to, well, actually, I think I was gone back to reading his book. But anyway, it was an enlightening read for me yesterday, and I listened to the podcast. I forget exactly, it was on Spotify. Rick Rubin being interviewed by somebody, I forget the name of the interviewer. Anyway, in it he spoke about our creative expression being kind of like an act of deep devotion, really. Like, they're not his words now, but he did say devotion. Like, he used you know, that thing of it matters, you know. The level of attention matters, and the quality of the looking for me it's a kind of devotional thing, I think. It feels that way anyway, that it matters, and it's like an honouring of the thing to lavish that degree of attention on, and you're rewarded like with the attention that's given to something. More beauty is revealed, I reckon, and surprises. It's not something you enter into with a knowing about it. It's an entering into from a place of being of being inspired to discover, I suppose, or I don't know, kind of having faith that you'll discover something. Like, I'm going to give myself 2 more minutes. Anyway, it was helpful to me to remember that idea of it being an act of devotion, and it being for, you know, another thing that he often says is the audience is considered last. This is a process for the person engaging in the creative act, that it's an answer to their impulse and inspiration and motivation first, and whether it's received with celebration or with derision is almost it's not a significant feature of the work at all. I like that. It brings in freedom and takes out the pomposity of some people being artists and some people not. That's probably got a bit of my own layering on top of it there now. There's maybe not always a pomposity to that, but I do believe that we are all creators. That we all, like John O'Donoghue says, are born not functionaries, but creators. It's kind of by our nature. It's not a question, like. Interested in all that stuff, you know. No, this painting is going to need to wait because I'm going to take Maisie out, and then I'm going to get ready and go to Edinburgh. The book festival's on, and I've got a couple of things I want to see this morning. So this act of devotion is going to be completed later. And it does feel quite challenging to stop because I'm drawn in. I already decided to get a later bus so that I would have time to give to this, and determined to create more space in my life too, you know. Always to kind of remember to do less and give more time to the things that I want to do, so that I'm savouring rather than rushing through stuff. So I suppose chapter 2 might contain some yellow. At the moment I'm still working with the green. I'll see you for the next installment. Hopefully I will survive enough that I'll be able to continue this. I don't know if you can see very well now because my camera skills aren't great. You see what I was looking at there? Okay, lots of love everybody. Have a good day. Bye.